Howdy, guys, and welcome to Cliff Notes, and welcome to night number 35 of the Overnight Feed recaps for Big Brother Season 26. Welcome to Eviction Night. Yes, indeed. Tonight, we're going to be losing our fifth house guest, potentially our last pre-jury member. We're going to find out. If we start the jury at this point in time, I would expect that Julie is going at some point in the broadcast say, guys, those of you who are left, welcome to the jury. We'll see what happens. But what we do know is that Tucker was HOH. Tucker had the veto. He's exerted those powers. He's not voting tonight. So other than the influence he can exert on voters, Tucker really doesn't have any say tonight on who goes home. Who goes home? Brooklyn, Chelsea, and Cam. One of themselves will pull himself off the block this evening at the AIBB Arena. Of the other two, someone is getting voted out. Last night, the overnight feeds kind of chill. People relaxing a little bit. Doesn't mean there weren't still conversations, though. A lot of it revolving around who do we want to keep, who's best for our game. Because we've got this AIBB Arena, there's a lot more uncertainty going into eviction night than we have in most seasons. Normally, you know who the two people are. It's an either-or situation. When you have three, it's not the case. There's a few different scenarios. So we'll talk about those. A lot of talking as well about positioning for next week. What if so-and-so wins the HOH? Who's coming after me and who's tighter with so-and-so? Typical Wednesday night conversations. And we had some campaigning as well. Cam even made an appearance. Yeah, we'll talk about it all. All right, let's talk about the feeds themselves. We'll start off late afternoon. Tucker talking to Angela about the two of them potentially doing something with Mackenzie, Leah, Joseph. Did they call it a full-blown alliance that they would put together? I don't remember if I heard those words. I think I maybe heard side alliance mentioned, something like that. Remember, they've already got the Avenue 6, 6th Avenue, but they're looking at maybe having another group. And again, this is Tucker and Angela with maybe MJ, Leah, or Joseph. Angela's proposing that they bring in all three. So yet another 5-person alliance if they were to do that. They're talking about that they want to spend a lot of time throughout the day and going forward, hanging out with everyone else and really watching them because everyone screws up eventually. Tucker reading body language and psychology and all that is pretty certain that if they just watch people and listen to what they say, they'll catch them in their lies. We saw in the preseason interviews, Angela talking about how great she is at reading people and their body language and all that. So these two are going to be watching going forward. But yeah, the two of them are talking about trying to create a little side group in addition to the alliance that they already have. They're talking about wanting to go to the end together. A lot of expressions about, I love you, you love me, we're a happy family, right? A lot of talk about, no, I'm so glad you're in the house. I'm so glad you're in the house. So vocalizations of support for each other. And they do seem very tight with one another. I think they'll last for quite a while, as long as they're both in the house, at least. All right, so they are talking about that. They're planning to be in each other's lives once the season is over. They want to go hang with each other and all that stuff. It's cool, some of the relationships that can form in this house playing this silly game. All right, we have all the house guests up in the HOH room having fun. I love seeing this. Just playing hide and seek a little bit, trying to scare each other. Doing everything that has nothing to do with game strategy. Well, everything always has something to do with game strategy, even if you're just sitting there doing nothing except chatting. There's always the game in the background, but the house guests all having fun together, all of them up there trying to scare each other. Angela hid in the bathroom, tried to army crawl behind the couch to scare Quinn. Didn't really work. Quinn gave kind of just to make her feel good, I think. But then he hid behind the couch and scared Brooklyn. He actually did scare her. After that, it changed to scaring people as they were coming out of the diary room. They got Angela downstairs. They got Leah downstairs. Just them having fun. Again, I like to see these moments where you can think about something other than the game and just relax with one. Brooklyn was up there. She's laughing. Tucker's next to her. They're laughing. Because at the end of the day, they are a family and they are going through a shared experience. And as brutal and as stressful and everything else as Big Brother is, it's nice when they kind of can come together for family for a little while. So they did that. I actually enjoyed watching them do it. They scared some people. It was pretty good. All right, we've got Joseph and Chelsea talking to one another. Joseph is telling Chelsea, saying, look, I never threw you under the bus to Tucker. Yeah, I've talked to Tucker and all, but I never threw you under the bus. Chelsea is saying, thank you for that. And I've never thrown you under the bus either. She's saying, I really care for you and Chemo and T-Core. I hope you realize that, Joseph. Chelsea is, though, telling Joseph that she thinks Quinn told Tucker a lot of stuff. So, in other words, yeah, I'm not blaming you for anything, Joseph. So Tucker knows a lot, but I'm going to blame Quinn on it instead. So she's telling Joseph that. She's saying that she really isn't going to hold it against Quinn for giving that information to Tucker because he was on the block under threat at the time, and she knows how that goes. So it's just the way the game is. Joseph is asking Chelsea, saying, look, if someone says something about me that seems kind of off or whatever, please come to me and ask me about it, and I'll clear the air about it, and we can at least talk about it. Let's make sure we stay talking to one another. And she says, that's fantastic. I absolutely agree. So a good conversation between these two. All right, we've got, and again, it works out well. From Chelsea's standpoint, she certainly needs to campaign, wants to make sure she's got the votes if she's on the voting block tonight. Joseph certainly wants to make sure that if Chelsea does survive, because it does seem like Brooklyn is still a target. So from Joseph's standpoint, if Chelsea does survive, if Chelsea was to win HOH, he wants to do what he can to make sure that he isn't one of the people who goes up on the block. I think he'd go up anyway if Chelsea got HOH, and no matter what they talk about right here, but he's trying. So good conversation from those two. Okay, we had T-Core and Rubina talking to each other. Both of them seem to be in agreement that they want to get out Cam. They don't want Brooklyn out. They certainly do not want Chelsea out. T-Core is very set on that, but they do want Cam out if at all possible this evening. They want to get Quinn's vote, but they're trying to figure out why, how they can do it since they think Quinn wants to keep Cam. He wants to keep Cam. We want to send Cam out. How could we possibly convince Quinn to come over to our side and vote to keep Chelsea or Brooklyn, one or the other who's on the block? So they're talking a little bit about that, how to bring in Quinn to their group. This only applies if it's a Chelsea versus Cam in the vote tonight. If Brooklyn is up there, I really think she goes home. It seems like that's going to be the situation. But if Brooklyn manages to pull herself with the AIBB arena, then you got a lot more uncertainty between Cam and Chelsea at that point in time. There's talk about Tucker trusting Cam more than Chelsea. I think that's true. And that these two are just the opposite from each other. So, yeah, they're a little bit worried about that. They want to make sure that Tucker knows that even if he's backdoored, because that's his big thing, is they're going to backdoor me. I don't have the numbers. They want to make sure that Tucker understands that even if backdoored and on the block come Thursday night, that the Alliance will have his back on the vote and he still should be safe, which is nice and fine and dandy to say. But if you've got two Alliance members on the block, it makes it a lot more difficult and a lot less certain that the Alliance is going to have your back. All right, we've got Chelsea and Brooklyn talking to one another. They're wondering how they got into this position. A week ago, everything is looking so fantastic, and now here we are both on the block. So they're wondering about that. They're basically blaming Quinn, saying, it all started off with Quinn put up Cedric as the pawn. Why did he do that? Why did we let him do that? That was, I think they call it a boy decision or something. I don't know. They're not happy that Quinn put Cedric up and let Cedric get blindsided. I think Cedric had something to do with that as well. But they're blaming Quinn for that. Brooklyn is saying that if she does survive tonight and she does win HOH, that she's putting up Joseph and Quinn, but the plan is to backdoor Tucker. Yeah, no surprise there. Not at all, really. No, I definitely think those are her targets. She's saying that other than them, Quinn is the only one who might make a move against Tucker. They feel like everyone else is just kissing the ring that Tucker's wearing and worshiping at the Tucker throne and all that. But they feel like Quinn maybe would take a shot at Tucker. The two of them potentially would. They don't think anyone else in this house is willing to take a chance and go up against him. They're complaining about Leah, saying she doesn't make her own decisions. She's just going to go with the flow. She'll vote however the rest of the house wants. Basically that's how a floater operates. But they're thinking that Leah really isn't ever going to take initiative or anything else. It kind of makes me think that tonight would be a fun night to see Leah win HOH, right? That could be interesting to see how she does it. Who else would be fun to win HOH? And I don't think they'll even try for it, or well, maybe they will. Can you picture a chemo HOH? What would Chemo do? As much as he wants to avoid getting any blood on his hands, as much as he worries about every single decision and conversation, Chemo winning HOH tonight may just lead to a complete breakdown. I don't know how that would work. It's going to be fun to see who wins this HOH. I don't know if we'll get to see it live or not. We'll see. All right, we've got Cam leading a group meditation. So he is trying to get more involved with more people. He said yesterday, I think he told T-Core, I need to talk to more people. Well, he's trying to do that. He's leading a group meditation session. Some people are meditating. Some people may, with their eyes closed, maybe we'll just call it resting a little bit. That's what I'd be doing. And nothing against meditation, but take advantage of your sleep opportunities while you can in the house. But yeah, Cam's leading a meditation session, so he is trying to get a little bit more involved as we approach the vote tonight. All right, we've got Quinn and T-Core and Chemo talking to each other. Quinn is telling them that Brooklyn said if she survives and wins HOH, that she's going for Tucker. Again, kind of reiterating what we've heard her herself say to Chelsea. He's just trying to justify to T-Core and Chemo why he snitched on the Pentagon. And he's saying, it's because I was on the bottom. I don't think he really has to justify it with those two. T-Core said, yeah, no, we're glad you did. Yeah, you're fine. We're glad you did it, Quinn. Don't worry about it. But I think Quinn, maybe it's just a matter of him wanting to make sure they understand why he snitched on the Pentagon, but would not do something similar when working with T-Core or Chemo. I think that was the motivation for him telling them that. But he does mention that. T-Core is talking about scenarios of what could happen tonight. She's saying, yeah, if Brooklyn was to win, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world that could happen, because she'd probably maybe put up Joseph. She would not put up us, possibly put up Joseph instead. Brooklyn, she could go for T-Core and Chemo as well. But yeah, I think Joseph would go up. She says that she's going to backdoor Tucker. So Joseph and insert T-Core, Chemo perhaps with Tucker, the ultimate target. But yeah, T-Core saying, maybe if Brooklyn wins, it's not the end of the world. They're talking about who they would put up. T-Core is saying Mackenzie for certain. That T-Core has said before, she just doesn't vibe with Mackenzie. So she's saying I would definitely put up Mackenzie. And then maybe Angela as a pawn also would be my two. Quinn is saying after this week, I just don't think next week I would put up Angela at all. And when he says that is when T-Core then says, well, maybe Angela just as a pawn. But Quinn is saying, I wouldn't put up Angela. He would want to put up Cam and Mackenzie as his two if he had the opportunity. Quinn is saying that even if Brooklyn tries to backdoor Tucker, he has enough votes to protect himself. He feels that Tucker is very insulated. Quinn doesn't see that as a good thing, I don't think. He realizes that a backdoor is a lot tougher when you also have the majority support in the House. So he's saying, yeah, even if they try, even if Brooklyn, everything works. She's HOH. She puts him up as a backdoor. Everything works perfectly. Tucker still has the votes to survive. So it's a lost cause at this point in time. But the scary part is that Brooklyn said that Tucker will be sitting next to Chemo or T-Core. So yeah, that's a concern, is if Tucker truly has the votes to survive and he's up against Chemo or T-Core, that doesn't make them feel comfortable, right? That would be an interesting group of two getting voted on. All right, we've got Joseph talking to T-Core. He's saying that whatever they do with the vote, they need to make sure to include Angela with the decision. Joseph is recognizing that when you have alliances, and T-Core and Chemo ought to be aware of this, that when you're in an alliance, but you're not being consulted and actually part of the decision-making, you quickly realize that you're at the very bottom, and that leads to defections and flips and things like that. Joseph's watched enough Big Brother. He understands that. So he's telling T-Core, says, we just need to make sure Angela's involved in anything we do so she feels part of the group and all of that, and T-Core's agreeing. He's saying he's okay if Chelsea stays because he doesn't think that Chelsea will come after him. Well, we know Brooklyn will. Chelsea, don't know how that would work. So he's, after that conversation he had with Chelsea, he's feeling better about Chelsea staying. They're talking about new sleeping arrangements as the HOH goes away. Tucker's going to be sleeping downstairs, and who's sleeping where. They're talking about how Rubina and Angela are both snorers, and so that makes it a little tough to sleep in rooms with them. Joseph is talking a little bit about Mackenzie, saying she's going to stay in her same bed. He mentioned something a little interesting, though. He says, MJ sleeps where she's most comfortable and not where it's best for her. We saw earlier in the season Quinn sleeping in the pedal room with the girls, and there was a lot of talk. Is he doing it just to be friendly? Is he doing it to get information from? Is it some strategic advantage? Well, Joseph's saying that MJ doesn't do that. She just sleeps where she wants to sleep. And sometimes there are reasons that you would sleep elsewhere. I know during my season, there were times where I would sleep in the outside bedroom so I could see who was coming and going. There were other times I was in one of the bedrooms just so I could hear people whispering because I was a snorer, but I quickly realized as long as I fake snored, they assumed I was sound asleep and they would whisper a little bit. So sleeping arrangements can make a huge difference in this game. And they're saying MJ just doesn't understand that part. She's sleeping where she can get her best sleep instead. All right, we've got Mackenzie and Chelsea and Leah talking. Not a lot of game talk from these three, but Leah talking about dating husky guys and how that developed and who she likes dating and such. And she's not into blue-eyed blonde hair guys. So if you're a young blonde-haired blue-eyed guy, don't bother taking your shot at Leah because it just isn't going to work according to her. All right, we've got Quinn talking to Brooklyn while she's in the shower. Drove me crazy when I was showering and someone tried to come up and talk game. First of all, you can't whisper, or at least I could never understand them because the shower is going on and you can't hear anything they're saying. So it's what is it? Christy and Tommy, you'll always have home. What? You always have home. Yeah, conversations while someone's in the shower never work, but that doesn't stop Quinn from talking to Brooklyn. It was a good conversation. Quinn is talking about whether or not it's true, and I think he's talking about whether or not Brooklyn told Tucker that Quinn and Brooklyn had a final two. I think that's what he's referencing because he says, whether it's true or not, I realize that it just doesn't really matter at this point. He says, I know you're on the block. You're doing what you have to try to survive. It's fine. There's lots of nice words about Quinn saying how glad he is that he got to play the game with her, how he really values her as a person and hopes that they're okay. And just saying, I really think you're a good individual and I'm glad I got to be in the house with you. It was a very nice little message from Quinn. I'm guessing that he just got through doing goodbye messages to the two of them. The day before the eviction, you get called in and they say, okay, goodbye message, say whatever you want, however long you want it, short, long, whatever, say what you want, but go ahead and do your goodbye messages. Now, here's the thing. If you do a goodbye message, it's fine. But if you change your mind a little bit later, you can come back in and say, hey, can I change that goodbye message? Can I say something else? They really yelled at me. So now I want to give them a hard goodbye message that you can change it, but there's no guarantee what production is going to, which one they're going to show or how they're going to do it. I always made my goodbye messages short and sweet so that they couldn't edit out anything or change it up or make it look like it wasn't something else. So I knew exactly what I wanted to say. It was never more than about a minute or so, and then I was done with it. Others would go in there and talk for 15 minutes and force production to cut and edit and all of that. But I have a feeling Quinn probably just did a goodbye message, realizing that Brooklyn truly is potentially going home. So he had very kind words for Brooklyn. Brooklyn is saying Quinn deserves everything he gets in the game, good-wise, that he deserves to do well in the game, that she understands that he is playing the game the way the game is supposed to be played, the way he wants to play the game. She's saying, you're playing the game. Tucker, on the other hand, she says, he's just winning comps and blowing up everything. He's not really playing. He's just a bull in a china shop, basically. My words, not hers, but you're playing the game, Quinn. He's just winning comps. There's a difference between the two, in her opinion. She's saying that if for some reason she was to survive tonight, the AI arena, the vote, however it came down, if she survives the vote this evening, and was somehow to win HOH, she says, Quinn, I won't put you up. So she's still campaigning a little bit on this. Quinn would not be her top target. Doesn't mean that he may not go up, but would not be her top target, especially, I think, after this conversation. I thought it was a good conversation, even though it took place while she was in the shower. All right, we've got Leah and Brooklyn talking to each other. Leah is all excited. She's telling Brooklyn that, were you upstairs in the HOH room? Well, no, I wasn't, Leah. Oh, well, I was up there and I saw Tucker and Rabina, or not HOH room, but actually in the bumper pool lounge room. She says, I'm a little blurry here. She says, I saw Tucker and Rabina upstairs in the bumper pool lounge room with everyone else, but they were under a blanket and they were holding hands with each other. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, they're trying to hide it, but they're not doing a very good job of it. So she's telling Brooklyn all about it, and Brooklyn responds saying, well, at least someone's getting cuddled in the house right now. I'm not sure that a Tucker being a showmance is the top priority, the top concern in Brooklyn's mind right now, given that she's on the block and fighting for her life right now. But yeah, Leah's pointed out that the two of them seem to be getting a little more friendly with each other. All right. The have-nots are over for the week. Oh, they've been waiting for it. Angela more so than anyone else. So everyone stays up. I think everyone stayed up. Most of them stayed up to watch them celebrate with a big old meal. Angela got her BLT. She got the bacon that she requested. There was some worry that there was only turkey bacon left. Now she got the real stuff, so she got to eat her big old BLT. Now, I understand Joseph mentioned at some point that the hot water downstairs was broken. How'd you have to be a have-not, all excited about taking a hot shower, and then the hot water is broken? So there was talk about people showering upstairs and all of that. So anyway, but they finally got to celebrate. They're through with have-nots for this week. We don't know if he'll come back or not, but they're through with it. Angela and the others get to celebrate. They also are finally making the Angela's delayed birthday cake. She couldn't eat the cake because she was a have-not. Leah's made the cake for it's a nice looking cake. It's frosting and fruit and all kinds of stuff. They don't eat it though. Last night, Angela says, I'm having cake for breakfast. You go, girl. That's I would too. I don't blame you one bit for that. But yeah, they got to celebrate her birthday a little bit. More importantly, they got to celebrate eating real food and not slop. All right, we've got Mackenzie teaching Angela some country music dancing. Cam joins in a little bit, Quinn a little bit. People just downstairs having a little bit of fun, doing some dancing and such. Apparently half this cast took square dancing as kids in school based on the conversations. We didn't see square dancing, but we saw a little bit of other dancing. All right, we got Chemo and Tucker in the HOH room. Chemo is telling Tucker that Tucker is his person. Tucker is saying, yeah, Chemo, I heard that you had a little bit of a rough day. Well, there's Groundhog Day for you. Every day's a rough day for Chemo, right? But he's saying, yeah, I heard, Chemo, you had a kind of rough day. And Chemo saying, well, I didn't want to bring down the mood in the house. No, too late. Chemo having another just off day as he thinks about all the things that could happen inside the Big Brother house. So he's making sure that Tucker understands that Tucker is his guy, his number one guy. I mean, Tucker and Chemo and T-Core, kind of the way Chemo wants it. But he's telling Tucker that. We'll hear later in the evening. He's just worried that other people maybe are getting too much attention from Tucker. So he's up here making sure Tucker understands that they're good. There's no one else Chemo wants to work with. Later, Tucker's suggesting that Cam and Mackenzie could be an item a little bit. I don't know why I've got that inserted right there. It happened later in conversation. But anyway, yeah. So I don't know why I put that. Anyway, but yeah, Tucker does suggest that Cam and MJ could be an item. Well, just a random little thought there. All right, Brooklyn and Chelsea are talking. Brooklyn is pointing out that when Cam left to go to bed last night, he told Tucker, said, see you tomorrow night. Well, the smallest little comment could set someone off. And so she's saying, well, obviously he thinks he's going to be here tomorrow night. If he's saying that, Tucker must think he's going to be here tomorrow night. So she's worried. Brooklyn is hoping that Tucker doesn't really actually know how the votes are going to go this evening, and that Cam is wrong when he makes that statement. They're wondering what people are telling Cam. What are they doing? Are they telling Cam that he's safe? Are they making promises to him? They just don't understand what Cam's pitch is right now. Brooklyn and Chelsea are both saying it's kind of silly for the ladies to want to keep Cam in the house over them. That Cam seems like he's kind of an alpha guy that may work more with the guys. Wouldn't you rather get him out and make sure that the women continue to keep the majority? So they're thinking for the girls in the house to want to keep Cam. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. All right, Brooklyn is saying that if she goes, she can't wait to talk to Joseph's brother. Little side story here. Apparently Brooklyn's brother Brooklyn went to high school with Joseph's brother. So the two of them, a small world, right? It's amazing. How do these people keep knowing each other in the Big Brother house? But apparently Brooklyn went to school with Joseph's brother, same high school, within a year or so of each other. According to Brooklyn, they were just almost best friends. According on some social media from Joseph's brother, he barely knew who she was, or he doesn't remember her. So there may be a little disconnect in terms of just how close these were. But yeah, apparently there are some connections between Brooklyn and Joseph's family. All right, we've got talk about from Brooklyn and Chelsea talking about their Botox treatments that they're running out, that they get them at cost, and a lot of talk about Botox there for a little while. They go back to game conversation. Brooklyn's saying if Chelsea doesn't win, she really wants Quinn to win. She's saying, obviously, Chelsea, you're my main person. If I can't do it, you need to win all of this. But if we both end up not on the final two chairs, she said, I want Quinn to win this thing. So Quinn's words had some impact, I think, with Brooklyn a little bit earlier. All right, on tonight's vote, Brooklyn is saying that she doesn't know where Mackenzie or Leah or Angela or Quinn are voting. And there's just some uncertainty based on how this is going to work out. It could be interesting if it's a Cam versus Chelsea final two in the voting chairs this evening. I think with Brooklyn up there, she probably goes home. But we still have another day worth of campaigning to take place. All right, we've got Tucker and Rubina in the HOH bed. Tucker is saying, I think at the time the lights are off, a little cuddling going on, but they are having some game talk. Tucker is saying that if Cam goes, Tucker is the only athletic guy left in the house. And that's not a good thing for Tucker. He feels like Cam will help keep some of the target, keep some of the focus off of Tucker. Tucker's never worried about that before, has he? But he does think that it would work to his advantage to have Cam stay in the house. He's saying that Chelsea is a social game player, that she's going to mess up the game. So you've got to vote her out. And I assume he's still having Brooklyn as his primary target. He's only looking at the scenario that Brooklyn manages to win AIBB Arena, and it's between Chelsea and Cam. He's saying Chelsea's a social player. She has got to go. Otherwise, she's going to screw her games up. He says there's no benefit to keeping her. Tucker is telling Rubina that Chelsea is playing her, that don't trust her, Rubina. She's telling you what you want to hear, but Chelsea is absolutely playing you and playing me as well. He's saying that if Chelsea is still in the house, that he is in trouble, that he doesn't feel like he's got the vote numbers if she does some kind of sneaky something like a backdoor. He's just not as convinced as some other people are that he's got the numbers to survive. He's worried as well that if Chelsea stays in the house, that she will try to work with Quinn, that they would be dangerous working together. He thinks that no matter what Quinn may have told him, that if he's on the block, Quinn will vote him out. Now, I think Quinn, if he won HOH, maybe would leave Tucker alone this week. Maybe that's not a certainty at all. But certainly, if Tucker is on a block, getting ready to be voted out, yeah, Quinn votes to send him out the door. And Tucker realizes that. So he's a little bit worried about Quinn and Chelsea working together. Rubina doesn't think so. Rubina thinks that Quinn's a lot more solid supporting Tucker than he probably really is. Tucker is saying that, on the other hand, he does trust Cam. Rubina is saying, I don't trust Cam. Tucker's like, well, I trust Cam. And Tucker's saying that they have to get Brooklyn or Chelsea out at this point in time. He's saying if they both stay, if you have those two ladies staying in the house, we send out Cam instead. Then you've got Brooklyn and Chelsea and Mackenzie and Leah and Quinn. And that is a solid five that could potentially win some competitions, come after as Rubina. That we've got to break up the two ladies at this point in time. Cam, on the other hand, Tucker is saying, is not a threat from a strategic gameplay whatsoever. And he says he's the only muscle distraction from me. I got to keep him in as someone else who's a strong player, so I'm not the only guy who can win competitions, things like that. I think Tucker, for one of the few times, is expressing a little uncertainty and nervousness about the game and his position in the game and all of that. I think the fact that he doesn't have a vote tonight, for one of the few times, he has zero power, zero control this evening. And I think he's seeing that and understanding that he can't compete for HOH tonight either. He's just in a bad position if things go the way he doesn't want them to go. So he's expressing some of that and trying to make sure that Rubina does what she can to protect him as much as possible. Rubina's telling Tucker, look, we need to talk to everyone tomorrow, make sure we're all on the same page, figure out what we're going to do and all that. Eventually, Rubina gets called to the diary room. May have had a little peck there for a second, but she gets called to the diary room. So we get shut down as far as the Tucker Rubina conversation. All right, we're almost done here. T-Core, Chemo, and Rubina are talking. Leah's saying that she doesn't want to be outside the majority vote. So she's saying, whatever people decide, please let me know. I don't want to be on the wrong side of anything. Just let me know. T-Core is wondering what Angela might do vote-wise, depending on who's on the block this evening. She'll probably vote the way Tucker wants her to vote, I would think. But she is thinking that Rubina will vote with the two of them, so they should be able to count on Rubina's vote for whatever they want to do. Let's see. It's T-Core, Chemo, and Rubina talking. So they're probably not talking about Rubina's vote on there. But they don't think that they can save Brooklyn if she's on the block. They think it may just be a little bit of a lost cause. T-Core doesn't want Chelsea to go home, but she would certainly be okay. She'd be better with Brooklyn going home than Chelsea. Of course, the goal is still to try to get Cam out. But if Brooklyn's still on the block come voting, it may be a lost cause. T-Core saying that Brooklyn would definitely try to backdoor if she could. Tucker, I think. So it'd be great if she could stay, but if not, it is what it is. T-Core is saying that getting Cam out is one more physical threat that they wouldn't be able to beat at the end. So T-Core very much wanting to get the guys out, including Cam. So even though we've got T-Core and Chemo and Tucker and Rubina all in a fairly tight-knit group, definitely different objectives. Tucker absolutely wants to keep Cam because he is another muscle guy that can distract people. Whereas T-Core for the exact opposite reason, saying we want to get out the muscle guy who's a threat to win competitions. So, yeah, we'll see if this friction leads to anything a little bit further down the road. All right, we've got later T-Core and Chemo talking by themselves. Chemo worried that Leah might be working with Joseph and that Joseph might be working with Tucker. So, therefore, we've got to be careful what we say to Leah because it could eventually filter its way back up to Tucker. He's worried about who's saying what around this house. T-Core is saying, well, you're saying that. Was I pushing too hard to try to get at Cam, knowing that Tucker wants to save Cam and it's going to maybe filter back to him? And so she's saying, is that why you're saying that? And Chemo's saying, we just need to be careful what we tell her. Chemo's saying that he does not want to be working with Leah because he says we can't count on her. She'll go wherever the power is. If it's with us, great. But the first time it's not with us, she's on the other side. So we can't really trust or work with Leah. They do want to talk to Tucker a little bit later because Chemo is worried that Joseph's too close to Tucker and that if somewhere down the road, T-Core and Chemo were targets, that they might not be part of Tucker's core if they aren't careful, and then they may not have Tucker's protection. So he's just worried that they aren't as close to Tucker as they think or hope they are. He's saying there's too many other people in Tucker's ear. All right, we've got some talk about maybe going up to talk to Tucker before the evening is over. T-Core is suggesting, saying, Tucker and Rubina are upstairs at the HOH room. It could be that they're busy with some other things. Maybe we shouldn't go up there right now. But Chemo is saying, well, we need to go up there, even if it's just for 10 minutes, and make sure that Tucker understands that we support him, that we've got his back, that we're good with him, that we'll protect him. And T-Core said, we'll see. But Kimo said, we've got to do it because otherwise, if he doesn't know that he's got our support, he may jump ship at some point in the future. Eventually, good reason wins out and T-Core wins out and they go to their bedrooms. They get in bed instead. They realize it's like 3:30 or so in the morning. T-Core earlier had said, yeah, midnight, I'm going to bed. Right after have nots, I'm going to bed. And everyone's like, yeah, we'll believe it when we see it. Yeah, it's 3:30. They're still up. But T-Core convinces Chemo, let's not go up there. They get in bed instead. And the plan is to get up super early this morning, go talk to Tucker before anyone else is up and make sure that he knows that they've got his support and everything is cool. And with that, 5:15 or so Big Brother time, 7:15 Houston time. Rubina's still in bed with Tucker, but about 5:15 or so, she hops up out of bed, gives him a quick little kiss, runs downstairs, gets in her own bed, and sleeps in her own bed. So she's trying to make sure when people wake up in the morning, they see that she's sleeping in her bed. Sure, she's been there all night long. Everyone knows Rubina. I wouldn't worry about this point in time, but she's trying to make it look as good as possible. So yeah, she's downstairs in her bed. And with that, there you go, guys. Tonight, Eviction. I think Brooklyn goes home if she doesn't win the AIBB Arena. If she does get herself pulled off, then I think probably Chelsea goes home at that point in time. I think Cam is probably safe. Tucker wins out on his arguments. The big one is then going to be the HOH. Are we going to get to see it live? Is it mental? Is it, we don't know. And is this the start of the jury phase? We don't know that either. We'll find out. But until tomorrow night or tomorrow morning, I'll be back tomorrow morning, give y'all an update on what happened with the HOH, scenarios, everything else. It's going to be a great episode tonight. Guys, y'all have a fantastic Thursday. I will see y'all tomorrow morning. But until then, SKD 143. Cheers, my friends. Bye.